Hello, and welcome to our presentation of the Wiedemann-Steiner Syndrome Foundation speaker series. Sara Shea is going to be presenting today on funding resources for families attending the Wiedemann-Steiner Syndrome Conference. Sara comes to us as a parent of a child with WSS, and I'm going to turn it over to her now to present. Thank you, Sara, and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me here. This is a pleasure. Um, I was encouraged to give this presentation by Libby and also by Sarah because I am a single mother of a child with Wiedemann-Steiner syndrome, and sometimes it just takes being resourceful and doing the research to learn what options are available to come up with funding to travel for conferences. And I'm not just, in this presentation, I'm specifically talking about the Wiedemann-Steiner syndrome conference, the one that's coming up in Chicago this year. This is to help everybody find options for funding, resources for funding to travel to that one. But that's not to say that there aren't many other conferences and events and programs that can also be accessed with these types of funding. So whether you're trying to come this year or in the future, or attend other conferences, this is all information that can be helpful to parents because we are all on budgets and travel is expensive. Okay, so we have this little path from uh guiding people to attend the Wiedemann-Steiner Syndrome Conference. It's just not in our budget. Really, where will the money come from? Travel is so expensive and becoming more expensive with gas prices and just the overall expense of travel. Many families assume they must pay entirely out of pocket to attend rare disease conferences. In reality, many funding sources are available through Medicaid waivers, developmental disability organizations, advocacy groups, and family support networks. Where to start? The following pages contain an overview of resources that have helped our family to attend the Wiedemann-Steiner Syndrome Conference, as well as other educational conferences and advocacy training programs related to Wiedemann-Steiner syndrome and autism, epilepsy, and developmental disabilities. Um, and so I should tell you to start with my daughter, and all of our kids are different and they're all going to have a different, a different list of diagnoses. My daughter is diagnosed with WSS, which is so sort of the overarching syndrome, as we all know. She's also been diagnosed with autism, with ADHD, um, and with epilepsy. Prior to getting the genetic diagnosis of WSS, she was just diagnosed with developmental delay. So any of these conferences may be helpful to children who have, a multitude of diagnoses. So the funding resources are obviously they can be used for our conference, but they can be used to pursue educational uh, programs, socialization, research for any of these additional diagnoses as well. Go ahead, Sarah. Thank you. Because I live in North Carolina, I'm going to use some North Carolina s- examples specific to the state of North Carolina to begin with, just because that's what I have experience with. And many of these programs are available in all states, but things like insurance and Medicaid programs are going to vary a little bit state by state. So just keep that in mind. We have North Carolina Medicaid. My daughter has something that I applied her for right after we got the WSS diagnosis, which is North Carolina's CAP C Community Alternatives Program, Medicaid waiver. which means we get self-directed care. Ivy has respite aides and daily living aides that come in and work with her, and we have a caseworker that helps us to do that. And it took me having a conversation with our caseworker early on to learn that there are North Carolina Medicaid waiver educational travel funds. Now, you have to ask for these in advance. You have to talk to your caseworker and explain the conference that you're trying to attend and send them the information about the registration, the lodging costs, the date. It's helpful to do that 3 to 6 months in advance of the conference or of the event that you wish to attend. And the caseworker needs to approve the program that you want to attend, and it needs to be relevant. You have to show its relevance to your child's plan of care. So obviously, my child has this diagnosis. Wiedemann-Steiner syndrome conference is relevant to my child's care. So we were able to receive funding by lining it up in advance through our caseworker. There's a certain amount, and it varies again state by state, that families have for educational travel funds. Um, for example, I also want to attend a conference that's in Florida in January that's a technology conference about technologies specific to special needs children. Um, the educational travel fund could also be used for attending that conference. But again, you have to speak with your caseworker to obtain approval for this. And the other thing I want to mention, because not everybody is on Medicaid, there are different programs and different travel funds available through different health insurance companies. Um, for example, if you have a health savings account, you can use certain portions of a health savings account for this type of educational or medical travel. And oftentimes, insurance companies, if you can prove that it's relevant to your child's needs and you apply in advance, they will match your travel funding. So if you say we're going to spend $500 to travel in state or $1,000 to travel out of state, the insurance companies, based on, state by state and various insurance providers, will match or will contribute to your travel funding. And if you're pulling out money from an HSA to travel, uh, as long as you're submitting receipts and keeping track of that, it is oftentimes tax-free money that you can use um, for that purpose. Okay, thank you, Sarah. Next slide. We have successfully used waiver funding, and again, I'm talking about CAP-C, Medicaid, North Carolina, to attend educational conferences related to Wiedemann-Steiner syndrome, autism, epilepsy, and developmental disabilities. Again, families should speak with their case manager or support coordinator to determine whether educational travel funds are available through their specific waiver program. How the process works: approximately 6 months before the conference, we submitted a travel request, including the registration costs, lodging costs, estimated travel expenses, and the relevance to your child's care plan. We paid expenses up front, attended the conference, saved every receipt. After the conference, we submitted receipts for reimbursement, including the registration, hotel receipts, airfare, gas receipts, parking, and eligible meals. Now, this is another option for funding that is specific to North Carolina. Again, every state is going to have options, grants, funding, resources, and opportunities like this. This is just one that we found. And rather than putting the website direct link out here, which was huge, I just uploaded a QR code for the Gene Wolfe Rossi Fund, which is through the North Carolina Council on Developmental Disabilities, NCCDD. My family has used the Gene Wolfe Rossi Fund, which helps individuals with developmental disabilities and their family members attend conferences, advocacy programs, leadership training, and educational events. The scholarship, again, specific to North Carolina residents through the Council on Developmental Disabilities. The funding available is up to $1,000 annually for in-state events and up to $1,200 annually for out-of-state events. And the good news is I applied for it again this year and just received approval from the NCCDD that we will receive the grant. We got 1,200 again this year to travel out of state for the WSS conference. Now, the fact that I applied for it and got it this year for myself and Ivy does not, that doesn't prevent any other North Carolina residents from applying for it. So it's family by family. There's plenty of funding available. If other folks from North Carolina were to apply for this right now, you are eligible for it. So this is $1,200 that you could have to attend the conference if you live in the state of North Carolina. And the QR code again is up there at the top on the right. Um, Eligible expenses, registration, lodging, travel, personal assistance of support. We have typically applied 4 to 6 months prior to the conference using a form that is on their website. Again, QR code there. We send them the link for the conference registration. We write out the estimated conference cost. There, it's right on their website. There's a form to fill out to put in the conference cost, the lodging, the location, the address, the dates. We paid after we receive approval, we pay all the expenses up front out of pocket, attend the conference, and then we submit receipts and complete their NCCDD expense report forms, which are very clear and detailed. And then we completed a short written summary explaining how the conference benefited our family. And I actually sent them photos of all the kids and the group photo that we took, and they posted that up on their website and shared it in their newsletter and all of that. So it's not just a way to get funding for travel, but it helps to promote the mission of our WSS Foundation as well, because it gives us some exposure through these groups. So we completed a little short written summary explaining how the conference benefited our family. And after I submitted all of those receipts and summary and filled out forms, a reimbursement check arrived approximately 1 month later. So that explains kind of how it works. It's really not that difficult at all. It just takes a little bit of time and some forethought and organization. Again, this is something you want to be applying for 4 to 6 months in advance. Not to say that you couldn't do it, 2 to 3 months in advance, but to give them some lead time to give you the approval and send you the forms is always helpful. Um, okay. On to the next slide, Sarah. Thank you. Now, the great thing is that every state has a DD council. You can easily connect with your local council to find state-specific resources, advocacy training, or council membership opportunities. So I've given you a link here to the national directory. Use the NACDD State Councils Directory to find a direct link to your state or territory's official council website. So that link is there. And what I really wanted to do was make QR codes to make this easy so that people could literally scan it right off this PowerPoint presentation. And if I give this presentation at the conference, I think that's something I will do is just put in the QR code so people can click through or give a list of the QR codes to make it easy. Um, Local offices, many larger states like California break down resources even further into regional offices for targeted community support. The DD network in every state works alongside two other core organizations to form the DD network, a protection and advocacy system, P&A, and a University Center for Excellence in Developmental Disabilities. You can find these additional partners via the Administration for Community Living. And these are fabulous networks to be aware of because it is a national program. They are available in every state, and there are many funding resources through all of these grants, funding resources. And I'll just interject with one other thing. In addition to the Gene Wolfe Rossi Fund that I found that has given us for 3 years now, three consecutive WSS conferences has given us funding to attend the conference. There's also funding available for hosting events in the state of North Carolina related to developmental disabilities. So if someone wanted to host a WSS meetup here in North Carolina, there's a grant up to $3,000 to help with conference costs or organization and creation of some kind of meetup or advocacy event here. And that's going to be available. Those types of grants and funding are going to be available in almost every state. So I've tried to put in also the logos for all of these different councils and programs. The DD councils frequently support family leadership development, advocacy training, disability conferences, parent education opportunities. Families should contact their state DD council directly and ask, do you offer scholarships, travel stipends, leadership funding, or conference reimbursement for families attending disability-related educational events? Many families are surprised to learn that these programs exist. And I've put in, this is the National Disability Information and Access Line, the 1-888 phone number here. You can call, you can find out all sorts of information. You can go directly to the national website, and then you can break it down by region, by state, all of the different developmental disability councils. So hopefully those things can be helpful. Now, another national funding resource is called Family Voices, and I've put the website here, familyvoices.org, along with their little logo for bridging the gap here. Family Voices is one of the nation's leading family-led organizations serving children and youth with special healthcare needs. Potential opportunities include family leadership programs, advocacy training, conference scholarships, travel support, state affiliate funding opportunities. Families should contact both the national organization and their state Family Voices affiliate to ask about conference-related funding. Now, the National Organization for Rare Disorders, NORD, is one that we're all familiar with because they have been at our conferences. I know we partner with them on a lot of things, and they've always got a booth at the WSS conference. But because WSS is a rare disease, NORD may be one of the most relevant national resources. They periodically offer educational support programs that can help individuals and caregivers attend conferences, advocacy events, and rare disease training programs. Funding opportunities vary year to year, so you should monitor their announcements regularly. And I've put their website at the top of this page as well. Thank you, Sarah. Autism Speaks Resource Directory. I'm sorry, I got somebody mowing outside my window now. Hopefully that's not too distracting. Although Autism Speaks does not typically fund conference attendance directly, its grant and resource directories often lead families to state grants, family support programs, educational funding opportunities, and local disability organizations. Many autism-related funding opportunities can also benefit families affected by rare genetic conditions. So there's a pretty high percentage of our WSS kiddos who have the co-diagnosis of autism. And so there are a bunch of autism resources, national, local, regional, and it's always worth your time to reach out to those organizations, to get involved, to ask about opportunities, to ask about potential funding, and follow, check their websites, follow the opportunities that may be available through these organizations. Here's another one, the National Autism Association, and I've put their website up here for you. The NAA offers family support programs, safety initiatives, educational resources, parent training opportunities. The organization can also help to connect families with state-level funding sources and community resources. Now, my daughter has been diagnosed with epilepsy just a year ago, so I've also added up here the Epilepsy Foundation. Not every WSS kiddo is gonna have seizures or get the epilepsy diagnosis, but a high percentage of them do, so I have included that here. And the Epilepsy Foundation offers a travel assistance fund that can reimburse epilepsy related travel expenses. So if you're traveling, long distances to see a neurologist or to do sleep studies or to do an EEG or any of these things, attending an epilepsy conference, eligible applicants can receive up to $3,000 for travel related to epilepsy care and treatment. Families who require a travel companion or who live in rural areas far from specialty epilepsy centers may qualify. Why this matters for WSS families. As I've said, there's also a co-diagnosis with our kiddos. Um, and they may need to travel for this type of care. And even if funding from this program can't be used directly for the WSS conference, it may help to offset the cost of epilepsy related care, which will ultimately free up more financial family resources for WSS conference travel. So this is another thing that is great to know about. Another one, Epilepsy Alliance America chapters, and I've put their website and their logo up here. It's a network of community-based epilepsy organizations serving families nationwide. Local member organizations frequently provide family support services, educational programming, community grants, connections to regional funding sources. And even just the other night, I went on to the Epilepsy Alliance Foundation and I ordered my daughter a bracelet that gives, that is a little like a metal, medical bracelet that explains that she has epilepsy and explains what she needs in the event of a seizure. And because she has that diagnosis and I filled out their form online, they sent her a free, $35 value little medical bracelet. But there's all sorts of stuff on their website, ranging from grants and funding resources to events, programming, both virtual and in-person, events that could help with parent education, caregiver education, and medical research as well. Hospital-based epilepsy centers. Many major pediatric epilepsy centers maintain family support funds, social work emergency funds, rare disease support resources, and travel assistance programs. Ask the social worker at your child's epilepsy clinic, are there any epilepsy travel funds, family support funds, Ronald McDonald House partnerships, or conference scholarships available? Many families never learn these programs exist because they are not widely advertised. And this is the thing about being the parent of a rare child. Nobody's gonna like jump into your life and say, "Oh, you have a rare child. Here is your list of resources and all of your funding that you need." You actually have to go out and find it. And the best way to do that is to ask everybody that you're working with, ask everybody related to the care centers, hospitals, programs where your child is receiving services. Continue to ask people, continue to have dialogues and conversations about this stuff because it is the best way to find out information about opportunities because these things change regularly and new grants are written and new scholarships happen and you don't know unless you're in the loop and you're asking questions and talking to the people who are affiliated with these medical centers. National resources available in every state. The ARC, the ARC.org. Many local and state chapters of the ARC offer conference scholarships, parent leadership funding, advocacy training support, travel stipends, educational grants. Tips for success. Become involved before requesting assistance. Relationships matter, and many chapters are eager to support engaged families. Attend meetings, volunteer, participate in advocacy efforts, help with fundraising. And I've given the link for the national ARC organization that helps you to find your chapter closest to your home. And it is the arc.org/find a chapter. The great thing I will tell you about the ARC is that we got involved with the ARC of Buncombe County, which is closest to where we live here in Asheville, North Carolina. And they did a little video segment about my daughter and about a summer camp that she attended. They gave us a $400 scholarship for her to attend a special needs summer camp this summer that was held at a place called We Rock the Spectrum, which is like a kids gym with PT and OT and a bunch of great um, equipment. And then I was so grateful to them for the scholarship that my daughter got that I agreed to speak at their annual fundraising dinner. I got up, I read some poetry that I'd written about the joys and challenges of raising a special needs child. And my daughter got up on the microphone at their fundraising dinner for the ARC, and she was able to speak a little bit about how much she loved the summer camp that they gave her a scholarship to. So that's an example of building relationships, staying involved, um, volunteering and continuing to find financial assistance for programs that are helpful to our family. PTIs, parent training and information centers. The website here, parentcenterhub.org. Find your center. Every state has a federally funded parent training and information center. These organizations often provide parent leadership scholarships, advocacy training, conference funding, travel stipends, special education workshops. In here in North Carolina, where I live, the PTI is called the Exceptional Children's Assistance Center, ECAC, and they periodically offer scholarships and leadership opportunities for families of children with disabilities. So here's your conference funding checklist. 6 to 9 months before the conference, contact your Medicaid waiver case manager if you're on Medicaid. Contact your insurance company if you are with a different program to find out about possible matching or contribution to medical travel. Contact your DD council. Contact your local ARC chapter. Contact your PTI. Contact Family Voices. Ask specifically about scholarships, travel stipends, conference reimbursement, and parent leadership funding. Bonus tip, ask every specialist. When your child has multiple diagnoses, don't limit yourself to rare disease funding. For example, my daughter's diagnoses include Wiedemann-Steiner syndrome, autism, ADHD, and epilepsy. The more diagnoses and advocacy communities your child intersects with, the more potential for funding sources may exist. The key is asking each organization what educational, travel, leadership, or conference support they offer. Advocate for your child or loved one by asking. Final encouragement. One lesson our family has learned is that funding often exists, but families must ask. Many organizations do not widely advertise travel assistance programs, and reimbursement opportunities can be missed simply because families don't know they are available. Start early, ask questions, and don't hesitate to contact multiple organizations. Combining several small funding sources can often make attendance at a Wiedemann-Steiner syndrome conference financially possible for families who otherwise could not attend. And then I've got my last page here, the power of asking. And these are 10 important quotes that have to do with asking, which I think sometimes is just what we forget to do. Asking the right questions takes as much skill as giving the right answers. The one who asks the question has the power. Confucius said that. Questions are the beginning of wisdom, Socrates. The important thing is not to stop questioning, Albert Einstein. Successful people ask better questions, and as a result, they get better answers, Tony Robbins. He who asks a question is a fool for 5 minutes. He who does not ask remains a fool forever. To be able to ask a good question is already half of the solution of a problem. The wise man doesn't give the right answers, he poses the right questions. The power to question is the basis of all human progress. The important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. And we need you here in 2026. This is our last Wiedemann-Steiner syndrome conference. That's the family photo there. And this presentation hopefully gives you some resources and helpful encouragement to make your attendance at our next conference possible.